All right. I hope that this is not going to fall down. All right, everyone, let me just make sure that my settings are okay. And we are going to begin. Hi, everyone. Hi, Donika. Welcome. I kept my promise. I'm live at 8 p.m. Sunday. Sunday PST. Hi, everyone. So this is an episode that I'm doing. This is the first episode of the 10 Rules of Being Claimed. And as you can see, this is my microphone as well, because I'm also recording for the podcast. So for those of you who don't know, I have a podcast called Girl Skill. I've been doing it for about 2.5 years, and there I talk all about, femininity and polarity, and how can we, how can a woman get into her feminine? By the way, that's why I'm taking off my earrings because my husband's always like, "You wearing earrings?" And this is not good. It messes up the microphone. So I'm just going to take this off real quick. I'm just going to check my settings. I think everything should be okay. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Anna Rova. I'm a femininity and feminine embodiment coach. I have a very powerful group coaching program called Claimed, where I help women attract committed masculine men. So I don't know if you want to call me a relationship or dating coach. I hate that term, but I guess I'm in that niche. Donika, if you're doing laundry, listening to this, that's perfect. I love that you're here. That's the most important. All right, so let me just hit the play at my recording software, and we'll go. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I will be answering them either at the end of this episode or tomorrow when I start the next one. All right, hold on. I have a pen in my hair, and then I'm gonna start doing this. All right. Oh, it's all crumbling down. Doesn't matter. Okay. So I am recording here. All right, so welcome everyone. I'm super excited to be doing this segment on the podcast, and I'm also doing an Instagram live for every episode. So those of you who are listening to the podcast, and if you want to see me talk live about this and see me in action, you can go to my IGTV and check out those episodes there. And if you're watching on IGTV, know that this is going to be, if you're watching on Instagram, know that this is going to be on IGTV and also on the podcast. So let's get into it. This segment is called 10 Rules of Being Claimed. And as I told you already before, I run a powerful, successful group coaching program for women called Claimed. And in that program, I share 10 rules for being claimed for women when we talk about men and dating and so on and so forth. And by the way, we talk to men, we talk to women about men and how dating works and relationship and polarity only, I would say, after we're done 60 or 70% of the work on you. So when I work with women, it's not about men, it's about you. And men come, week 7 or 8 of my 10-week program. So just know that. But I feel like this is a very powerful conversation we need to have, because I see women time and time and again making all these mistakes, in my opinion. So I really wanted to bring this message in a powerful way so that you get to know what I'm all about, and hopefully this is going to be very helpful for you. So in the previous episode, or on my Instagram, you'll see I explained the 10 rules one by one, and today we focus on rule number 1, which is you create your funnel, men compete. Okay, this is a very powerful rule, so let's get into it. So let's talk about what kind of a funnel I'm talking about. And when I say you create your own funnel, men compete, I talk about the dating funnel. So first, let's talk about what a funnel is. So a funnel is literally, oh my God, I don't even know how to explain it. You usually use a funnel that looks like this, like a reversed triangle, so to say, I guess, reverse pyramid. And so I first got introduced to the idea of a funnel when I was working in online marketing. So there is a marketing funnel or a sales funnel, which basically means that you start at the top. Let's say if you're in marketing or sales or whatever, you get exposed to as many prospects or leads as possible, and then as you take them further through the journey of your sales or your marketing, then that segment of the people you get exposed to, the prospects or the leads, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller up until a point where one of them becomes a customer. And that journey is a very strategic journey. The journey is a psychological journey, and it's a great journey. I mean, I learned all about sales and marketing there. But now today we talk about dating and men. And so it's a very new concept for women. I shall say that men actually know this concept very well, and it's not surprising because most men, when they hit puberty and their hormones are, they're waking up with a hard-on, basically their whole mission in life as they're a teenager going through the 20s is to pick up as many women as possible and get into bed as many women as possible. And so they are very active about searching for information on, and not all of them obviously want to get laid, but one of the main driving forces is that. And actually, as women, we need to understand that. And we need to actually appreciate it and look at it not as something that's wrong with them, which I feel like today a lot of men feel like, if they stand strong in their masculinity and their sexuality, there's something wrong with them. But we actually need to appreciate and understand that that's part of the male journey, which I actually talk about. A lot of women get introduced to this idea of like, oh my God, there's a male journey. We're different. Yeah, we're different. There's so much beauty in it. So when we talk about the dating funnel, what I really talk about, let's talk about why we need to create a dating funnel and why is this important. So basically, let me explain to you. The dating funnel is the same thing as we would talk about a marketing or a sales funnel, where you expose yourself in, basically it's dating with intention. It's not leaving things to chance. Because a lot of women, and if you're a successful, busy woman, I talk to women like you every day on my discovery calls. And I know that most of you have been so focused on your success and your career and getting to that success that you want, which is amazing. But a lot of you have disregarded your love life. A lot of women think that, our relationships and our love life is just going to happen. Like, of course I'm going to get married, and of course I'm going to have children. And then a lot of women that I work with are in their 30s or 40s realizing, oh my God, my clock is ticking and I have disregarded that part of my life, for a very long time, and now I need to get back into the game. So in order not to do that, or in order to start reversing that dynamic, I want to introduce you to the idea of a dating funnel. The dating funnel is really you putting yourself out there and making sure that you're not leaving things to chance and that you're maximizing your chances of meeting a man that you want to meet, who is a committed masculine man that most women want. So let's talk about, this is why we do this. We're not leaving things to chance. And a woman who is equipped with this knowledge is a powerful woman out there in the dating world, because she doesn't sit there waiting for men to knock on her door. She doesn't sit there and complain that there are no good men around. She takes action. She focuses on herself, but she also understands that dating is a game. And I want to tell you ladies listening that dating, I understand that so many of you have been exposed to these terrible stories of online dating and all these dick pics and men just wanting to get in bed with you and like, oh, yuck. Like, if you're a woman like that, you can let me know. But I talk to women like you every day, and that's what I hear. And I got my fair share of that as well. But the reality is that it doesn't have to be this way. There is another way to date, and there's a way where you're present in your body and your femininity and you're having a lot of fun. Like, dating is supposed to be fun, and you need to learn how to play this game with men. And women also tell me, I don't want to play games. Well, what do you mean you don't want to play games? Like, when you are meeting with a man and you're flirting with him, you're playing games. Like, that's what the whole mating dance is about. It's a mating dance. We're all dancing with it. Well, I'm not dancing. I'm dancing with my husband in the bedroom. You're dancing now with attracting the right men, right? Or if you're in a relationship, But I mean, now you really, this is for single women who are looking to attract their men. We're all dancing with each other. And so if you're a woman who is so hard in her ways and thinking that, no, I'm going to do, like, on the first date, I'm going to ask him if he healed his childhood trauma, if he's looking for a wife, and what does he want from a relationship. Please don't do that. That is the worst thing you can do. Because when you're dating and exposing yourself, you're basically having a lot of fun. You're letting men court you. And that is the biggest game that men want to play. Men love and enjoy courting women and pursuing women, and women love and enjoy being pursued by men. So let's get rid of that kind of veil or a face or a mask where we're sitting there and pretending that, no, on the first date, I want a husband. Well, if you want that, me and this program is not about that. What am I all about is showing you the ways how you can really step into your feminine power and attract committed masculine men by having a lot of fun. And this is what this is supposed to be. So let's get back into the rule number 1. You create your funnel, men compete. So how I imagine, and I have a visual that I share in my program. So imagine a reversed pyramid. On the top of the pyramid, which is the biggest layer, so to say, is the stage of awareness, which is exposing yourself to potential suitors. And this is a stage that everything begins. You as a woman, if you want to meet men and you're not in a relationship, my first question to you is, well, how many men are you exposing yourself to? Because there's a lot of women out there saying, well, I'm amazing, I'm the full package and everything, but I don't see men. Men are not attracted to me, or they're not pursuing me. Well, that's because you're not exposing yourself to, it's a numbers game. If you expose yourself to a lot of men, you will have a lot of potential dates. You will have a lot of potential partners, right? So, for example, if you expose, it's actually a good exercise. How many men, think about it, how many men do you feel like you are intentionally exposing yourself on a weekly basis, for example, right? Let me know in the comments or message me on Instagram and tell me how many men you're exposing yourself. And when I talk about how many, probably most of you are doing it on autopilot. You're just kind of going about your day. Maybe you're going once a week somewhere to the bar with the girlfriends. Maybe not, So there's a difference between exposing yourself to like 10 men a week and 30 men a week. Like, even if you double that number, your chances of meeting a great guy are going to be tenfold, even if you double that number. So the first stage is awareness and exposure. Make sure that you expose yourself to as many men as possible to give them chances of approaching you and of asking you on a date, basically. And so there's many ways you can do that exposure, right? And awareness. Think of ways that, and this is actually, we're going to talk about this, how to do this later on. But, think of ways. My action step to you is to intentionally, on a weekly basis, go to at least 2 events, at least 2, if not 3. That you need to get yourself out there, and you have to be very much intentional about it. Now, it has to be done in a genuine way. Like, you don't go to the bar to meet men. I mean, a lot of men do actually go to the bar to meet women, but there's nothing wrong with that if you really think about this. It has to be fun for you. It has to be exciting. Like, don't go somewhere where you'd normally never go, that wouldn't interest you at all, just to meet men. Like, men will sense that you're there for a reason and you don't want to get there. Think about events. Think about places you can go to. Grab a few girlfriends. Go to friends. Be open and I'm going to say vulnerable. Yes, be open and vulnerable to actually meeting men. Now, there's so many details that I talk to women in the program that I teach, but when you open up yourself to men, your body language, your body and your whole self has to be open to approach, right? So when we work with women together, I give them certain tips, and I'll be happy to share that with you as well. Today, we're all in our phones, wearing headphones, and just so much in. So your body language and everything you do has to say, basically portray the image of I'm open to be approached, which means that if you are on the street, and no matter where you are, by the way, you can meet men anywhere, right? You can meet men on the street, you can meet men in a cafe, you can meet men, I don't know, everywhere. Like when a woman asks me, where are all the good men? I'm like, have you looked? Men are all around. It's just where you are currently, you're not seeing them because you're not exposing yourself, because you have certain beliefs about men in relationships and so on and so forth. So know that you have to get intentional about it, but also know that it can happen any point in time. I'll give you an example. I went to a cafe the other day, and I'm like, just, you know, how I am here with you is how I am in real life with my men, with other women, you know, I'm open. I'm constantly working on my belief system, on my body language, and on regulating my emotions so that I am open, so that I'm not walking around with somebody told me, rested bitch face, RBF, or I'm not walking around with just a poker face. You know, and there's so many women out there are like this, and I understand why, but you have to find tools and resources to get rid of that, to get out of that mindset. So I was at this cafe, and, you know, I'm just like working in a cafe, I'm coming out and ordering coffee and chatting to the guy, like, what kind of chai do you have? And I'm like bubbly and smiling. And he's like looking at me and tell me, yeah, we can do like a big size of chai and everything. And I'm like, no, this is not going the right direction. I was unintentionally flirting with the guy. And then when I went upstairs, I think he was like the manager or something. And then he started going upstairs more often. Like, I know he doesn't work upstairs, but he brought me my chai and was kind of doing, you know, eye contact. And I was like, oh my God, shit, like, what do? I'm married, like, I can't, you know? And then I closed. So this is just an example of how you need to be open in your body, in your system. Most importantly, it's the inner work. No matter how open you are on the surface, if you're closed on the inside, if you still have beliefs about men or fears or not trusting men, this needs to be worked on. And message me so we can get you there. So we talked about exposure to potential suitors, right? So you need to expose yourself to as many men as possible. The next stage, which is going then further, that's why it's a funnel, right? So let's say from 100 men, for example, that you are exposing yourself on a monthly basis, so you're exposing yourself, men start approaching you. Then you decide, and that's the whole rule all is about. You create your funnel, men compete. You decide whether you want to go on dates with these men or not. This is the second stage of the dating funnel, which means that the pool has become smaller, right? So for example, if you're exposing yourself on a monthly basis to 100 men who are approaching you, the next stage probably becomes like maybe half of that. So maybe 50. Okay, these are like crazy, unrealistic numbers. I'm like, 50 men you go on dates? No. So, okay, how I would think about this is like, let's say you expose yourself to 100 men. And 100 men, when I'm talking about 100 men, they see you, let's say, and they are kind of evaluating you. Now, probably, I don't know, maybe 20% of them would be approaching you on a monthly basis. Let's just throw numbers. So let's say you get approached by 20 men a month from these 100 men. Now, from those 20 men a month, you probably will choose the ones that you want to go on dates with and continue to the second stage of the funnel or not. And let's say from these 20 men, only 4 of them kind of suit your criteria or you find attractive, right? So now with these 4 men, you go into the second stage, which is actually the stage of dating, which is the stage of consideration. And again, you choose who you go to with on dates. So in the stage of consideration, the most important thing is actually, this is just consideration. This is you looking for options and seeing whether you want to move this forward or not. One very important thing here to understand is that men are doing exactly the same thing. In rule number 7, I think, which is going to be in about a week, I'll tell you about, in rule number 6, I'll tell you about why you should never stop your funnel until you get claimed, which means why should you never stop exposing yourself to men, going to men, and going on dates with men, and so on and so forth. This of your journey. This is just exposure to potential suitors, and then dating, and then you date, and then understand that in dating, whether you choose to have sex or not, whether you choose to do whatever you want, This is just dating. This is not a relationship, okay? And I feel, and we're going to talk about the rule of thirds next and so on and so forth. The problem, I guess, or the issue with a lot of women is that they move forward into the partnership or relationship stage much quicker than men, because they think that, oh, you know, I've been to 5 dates, we've been talking for about 2 months, we've had sex and it's great, he's telling me all these things, we are in a relationship. Sorry, ladies, it doesn't work like that. And we need to operate in a way how men think about this, right? I mean, it's not a very feminine way to do it. Like now I'm teaching you the tactics and the strategies of doing this, right? If you choose to work with me, when I work with women, this stuff comes, as I told you, after 70 or 60% of the work, because this is just tactics. And this is what a lot of people in the relationship dating niche will teach you, but they're not going to teach you on, you know, on the inner work and what action needs to be done. And I'll touch upon this in, you know, in my 10 rules, but on my podcast and in my writing, I talk a lot about this. I give you a lot of practices, how to work on your limiting beliefs, why men are mirrors, and so on and so forth. If you haven't watched my webinar, that's called How to Attract Committed Masculine Men, I share with you my whole philosophy about how to actually change yourself as a woman so you can attract much better men. And that's at girlskill.com/webinar. So moving on, in dating, you are dating. You are not in a relationship. And the mistake that women make is like, oh my God, I'm in a relationship. He tells me all these things and I'm with him for 2 months and like, this is great. And then they get really disappointed when that's not the case. And then they blame men, which men shouldn't be blamed for seeing many women at the same time. And I'll tell you about rule number 3. The rule of thirds, where you need to see 3 men at a time. That's why I told you in the consideration, let's say you have 4 men and you're seeing them and dating, and there should be absolutely no guilt for you as a woman when you're dating men, when you're dating many men, whether you sleep with them or not, that is your specific individual choice. But know that if you start sleeping with a guy, it doesn't mean that you are in a relationship. So then we go to the next stage. Out of these 4 men that you continuously date, and if one of them falls away or 2 of them fall away, it doesn't work, you move forward. You continue to expose yourself to many men, stage 1, and then stage 2, you continue dating. So you always date. And if a question in your mind is like, oh my God, this sounds too much work. Well, it shouldn't be for you as a woman, because technically you shouldn't even be doing anything, okay? Like for you, this should be such an easy when you let men be in their masculine energy, when you create your funnel, and then expose yourself to these men, right? So next stage is conversion. So conversion means that you are actually in a relationship, right? So when you are in a relationship, what that means is that there is an explicit conversation about, are we in a relationship or not? And that conversation has to come from him, not from you. This is another important distinction to understand and realize that a man who really wants to be in a relationship with you, he will ask you. He will have a specific conversation with you about it. So another big mistake that a lot of women make is, you know, where's this going? The question mark, where's this going, right? Or when is he going to propose or whatever? Well, this is further into the relationship. But when you do things right, when you are in your femininity, when you're working on yourself, when your life is so amazing, you don't even think about where is this going. Like, men will line up for you. And this is what I tell the women in my program. This is why it works. Because we really work on your self-esteem and your belief in yourself and your femininity and what power you have over men. So many women, I get all these notifications, sorry. So many women don't realize the power they have over men. And in fact, everything we've been told to by media today is completely the opposite. We feel like we don't have power, but in fact, we have a lot of power. So, you know, when you are in that state, when you do things right from the beginning, you're not even thinking where this is going. Like, he's thinking where this is going. But you know why he's thinking where this is going? Because you continue dating. Because you do not assume that this is a relationship. And that's how you create competition around men or among men who are dating you. Because think about it. A man who knows that you're totally committed, you're totally there, and like, there's no question, the conversation about exclusivity didn't even happen. Things are easy for him. Like, he's not gonna appreciate what he didn't work for. And that's how men work. They really appreciate what they invest time, money, space, and everything else. They appreciate their investments. So they treat a woman almost like an investment. I mean, these terms don't sound right even to me, but that's how it works. And so he needs to invest time, money, and energy in you and in you dating with you, because he will see how this is going to give him tenfold. And so when there is competition with other men, meaning like this man knows you're still dating. I mean, you don't have to explicitly throw it in his face and say, hello, I'm still on Tinder. If you don't claim me, then I'm out. Like, no, you do this because you want to do this, because you understand that dating is dating. We're playing a game and I'm having fun. And it's up to men to come and claim me. So I hope you understand how this works. And because men love competition, and because, like, if you really think about this, this is evolutionary psychology and biology. Like, honestly, men compete for the best female, and they actually compete with each other for dominance, for hierarchy, for resources, to have access to the best females, right? Because females choose the best men who have the most amount of resources and the most amount of power. And I'm not going to I'm not going to go into the patriarchy system, but that's how patriarchy is technically built. And we could argue, which is a completely different conversation, that actually patriarchy is built on the premise that women choose the most dominant, powerful men. Why? Because those men have the best genes and can ensure that their offspring will survive. But anyways, I'm not going to go into that. I just wanted to drop that bomb in there. So this is basically how it works. And I wanted to bring that out as rule number 1, because you create your funnel. And understand that you're not a powerless woman who's just like living things to default. If you do this with intention, if you do this right, then you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to have a lot of men around you who are courting, who are pursuing you. And then eventually one lucky one will ask you to be his woman. And the conversation about this is going to run something like, we should get exclusive. Or he might see that you're still dating other men and this is going to bother him, and then he's going to ask you, and then again you choose. You are the one to choose to say yes or no when you do this with men. So that's how the dating funnel works. And you create your funnel, remember, and men compete. And what you need to do as a woman is to let men compete. One of the biggest things I see one of the biggest problems and issues that women come to me with is they can't let go of control. They can't let men lead. And so that's a big issue. So when we work together, or you can do this on your own, my podcast is a big help, and my writing, step back, lean back, not lean in. You can lean in at work. Here you have to lean back and let them lead, let them court you. Do not strip men away of the opportunity to court you and pursue you, because that is what they're built to do. That is what's very exciting to them, right? When you have to court and pursue a woman, right? And this is also exciting for you because he courts and pursues you. So both win. So this is what I wanted to say for today for this rule, right? If you have any questions, please let me know. You can message me on Instagram or, comment on the video that you're watching this in. One action step that I really wanted you to take out of this is, draw your dating funnel. So literally right now, wherever you're listening to this, maybe you pause if you're listening to this on the podcast, like draw that little pyramid, divide it into 3. And on the top of that, you write, awareness, exposure to potential suitors. The next stage is consideration, which is dates. And the next stage is partner conversion. So divide it into 3 and brainstorm ideas on how you can expose yourself to potential suitors, and have a plan. Have a plan about this. Like, plan at least 2 events or even 3. Plan 2 events a week where you can expose yourself to as many men as you can. So someone asked me a question right now: how do you get more high quality men in the funnel? Great question, and we really work on this. When you work together with me, but I'll give you some ideas now. So actually, this relates to the action step. How do you get more quality men in the funnel? the first and the most important thing is you work on yourself. There's no tips or tricks that I can give you that is going to tell you how to attract high quality men, like do this, do that. I mean, you could do that, but it's really about you as a woman, and if you artificially, for example, create an image of yourself as a high quality woman, this is going to be a lie. And this is not going to sustain the relationship forward. So if you want, you're doing all of this dating funnel. Why? Well, because you want to have fun, obviously, but ultimately you want to create a relationship that is sustainable, that might eventually lead into marriage if you want to do that, and might eventually lead into the family. The trick here and the biggest problem that women have is not attaching to that idea. So many women go on dates and be like, oh, are you going to be my next husband? No, we're not even thinking about that. But you see, when you're busy, so this also answers your question. When you're busy with an amazing life, when you're open and vulnerable, when your body language, and you are in your body as a woman. So I'm actually a feminine embodiment coach. And when I work with women, I work deeply on embodiment. These are beliefs and programming that you might have about women, about men, your experiences as you went through life. Perhaps you had traumatic experiences with men, like a lot of us did, right? Perhaps you have been told never depend on a man because they're not trustworthy. There is ancestral trauma. Like, there's so many layers to this that you really need to work on that. So if you're asking this question, how do you get more high quality men in your funnel? That means that already there's a problem. There's a pattern in you attracting not quite high quality men. So I'd really dig into that. What is the pattern? How can you work on that? And how are you mirroring that pattern in your life? That is the biggest thing that you need to do for yourself. Now, that's why when I work with women, the first 60 or 70% of the work, we work on you. We work on how polarity works, feminine embodiment. I give you practices and tools that you can feel and drop from your head into your body. And so then on a practical level, that's why what I'm sharing with you right now actually comes in the last 20% of when we do this work, right? Because if you do this from the inside, then the outside is just going to honestly form itself. Like with me, I don't intentionally do any of this anymore. I never did, by the way. Everything I did, I kind of stumbled upon it. And then I reverse engineered and said, oh my God, here's how you do it. Yeah. Now I'm teaching women about this. And then, so this will happen by default, right? But if you have a kind of an issue with attracting high quality men, I really work on those patterns, beliefs, and so on and so forth, getting into your femininity, getting into your body, letting go of control, trusting men again. And then let's say go into places, brainstorming of places where would the man of your dreams or your avatar, where would he be? Right? So there's a difference between going to like a cheap bar with I don't know what and going to like let's say a racing I don't even know what, like I haven't dated for like freaking 4 years anymore, but to think of places that you really enjoy being. Think of places that you really love to meet these kind of men. Where do they hang out? Like, talk to the men that you know that are great men or friends of great men, or talk to the wives of these great men. Ask them what they're doing. But again, it has to match your current level of. It has to match you. As I said, it has to be genuine. Brainstorm ideas where you can go and meet these types of men and expose yourself. Again, no headphones, no phone, throw these away. Just be there with girlfriends or by yourself. Best way to go there by yourself, because you're definitely going to get hit on men. So I hope this answers your question, right? Okay, the other question that I have is, what is your advice for a woman that is going to focus on herself and not date for a while? Like, to prepare yourself for what you want. Yeah, great. My advice is to come work with me, Rachel, because this is exactly what we're doing. And in fact, I'd love for you to work with me, but you don't have to. So I'll tell you about what we do with women. Let me just check. I hope we're going to be done in about 5 minutes. So when I work with women together, before we even talk about men, like that's what I was telling you in the beginning, that, we talk about what I shared with you, what I'm going to share with you through the next 2 weeks of 10 rules of being claimed. We talk about this in the last 20% of our work together. In the beginning, actually, a lot of women ask, well, should I date during this process or should I not date? I say it's totally up to you. Like, if you feel okay to be dating and implementing all these changes in your life, you can. If not, that's totally fine. So what is my advice for a woman that's going to focus on herself and not date for a while? Prepare yourself for what you want. It's the same thing, Rachel, that I said before. It's all about identifying what were your patterns. And by the way, when you work with me, I give you all the tools and resources and practices. What is not working? Yeah. What is, and I wrote about this as well in my blog, and I think I did a podcast interview, can't remember, but basically, what is not working? What is the pattern that you're seeing in your relationships dynamics with men? Write that down. Think about 3 to 5 main relationships that you had in the past, and think what are the similarities between them, so you can dig out that pattern and really see what's in you that's attracting that. What are some of the beliefs? And I mean, the purpose of this is not to go through that, but dig deep and see what are the patterns and how you can change them, right? How can you get into your body? What are some deep-rooted beliefs within you about men that you have? And really look deeper inside. We can talk about this further if you want. But that's what I would do. If you feel burnt out from dating with men, it's time to hit a pause button, and it's time to really work on yourself. Not the superficial, let them leave. Step back, girlfriend. Not the superficial kind of like, oh, makeup and everything. You definitely need to do that, and I talk about this a lot. But that's not what's attractive. A woman can be extremely attractive on the appearance, right, on the outside, but men won't stay around her besides 3-5 dates. That's it. It's not sustainable. So it's all about you looking at your beliefs, looking how you're not in your feminine, because most women I work with are too much in their masculine energy. Whatever has helped you in your work and your business and career is not helping you with men. So you got to step back and let them lead and work on your beliefs. So I hope this answered your question. All right, darlings, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I'll start, the rule number 2. Hold on, let me... Okay, stop the episode recording. So let me know if you have any questions about this, about your dating funnel and how to create that, and let men compete. And then when I start tomorrow's episode, I might answer the question. And then we move forward to rule number 2 tomorrow, same time, same place, which is called you get the best piece. You have feel pretty and want it from the inside. Yeah, thanks so much, Beatrice. You're right. You're welcome, Rachel. All right, ladies, I wish you all the best. Good luck. I hope you're going to really apply this. Please comment if you liked it. Let me know if you have any other questions. What else? I think that's it. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Love you all. Bye.